It all started on a quiet Tuesday morning, the kind of day where the sun rose slow and golden. Birds circled lazily over my freshly painted porch, and for once, life felt peaceful. I had just poured myself a cup of coffee when I saw a bright red envelope taped to my front door. Notice of violation. It read in bold, angry letters that looked like they were designed to ruin someone's day. Underneath it said, unauthorized activity, lawn maintenance, not in accordance with HOA standards. Fine, $500. I laughed, then I frowned. Then I laughed again, because how could anyone get fined for cutting their own grass? But that was just the beginning. See, I had moved into this neighborhood for peace, a place where I could work from home, fix up my garage, and mind my own business. What I didn't know was that I stepped into the territory of one of the most controlling homeowners associations in the entire county. They called themselves the Preserve Board, but really, it was a handful of power-hungry neighbors, led by the infamous Karen Dempsey, the HOA president who treated the community like her personal kingdom. And when Karen found out that I wasn't the type to bow down, she made it her mission to teach me how things worked around here. The next week, I got another letter. Unauthorized vehicle in driveway. That unauthorized vehicle was my 1969 Mustang Fastback, a car I'd spent 3 years restoring. A car that meant everything to me. According to the HOA, it was an eyesore. I remember standing in my driveway when Karen walked up with that smug look plastered across her face. She was holding a clipboard like it was a weapon. "Mr. Harris," she said, her voice dripping with fake sweetness, "you can't keep that car here. It doesn't match the aesthetic of our community." I smiled politely and said, "Karen, this car was here before you were." She blinked. "Excuse me," I said, "this car's a classic, and as far as I'm concerned, it stays." She huffed, scribbled something on her clipboard, and stormed off muttering about rules and violations. By the end of the month, I had 7 violations for things like my American flag being too large, my garbage cans being visible from the street for 3 minutes too long, my front porch light being too bright. It was absurd. Every week, they fined me for existing, but what they didn't know was who they were dealing with. Before I moved here, I spent 15 years as a civil rights attorney, specializing in property law and HOA misconduct. I'd seen it all: overreach, abuse of power, harassment, and I'd taken down bigger boards than this one, so I decided to play along. Every time they sent me a letter, I filed it carefully into a folder I labeled Exhibit A, Karen S. Greatest Hits. Every time they trespassed onto my property to inspect something, I recorded it with high-definition security cameras. Every call, every threat, every ridiculous email, I saved it all. I wanted evidence, not revenge, at least not yet. Then came the day they crossed the line. I woke up to the sound of heavy machinery. Through my window, I saw an HOA contractor on my property, ripping out my flower bed, the one my late wife had planted before she passed. I ran outside, heart pounding. "Hey, what are you doing?" I shouted. The worker froze, pointed toward the street, and said, "Talk to the HOA, sir. They said this area violated landscaping guidelines." I saw her standing there, Karen, in her spotless beige sweater, sipping coffee like it was just another day at the office. That was it. Something snapped inside me. I told her, "You have 5 seconds to get off my property before I call the sheriff." She smirked. "Oh, don't bother. We already called them for you." When the deputies arrived, I explained everything, and you know what they said. "Sir, this is a civil matter. You'll have to take it up with your HOA." Fine, I thought. If they want civil, I'll give them civil. In court that night, I drafted a 52-page legal complaint accusing the HOA board of harassment, privacy violations, and abuse of authority. I filed it first thing the next morning. But I didn't stop there. I sent copies of the complaint to every homeowner in the neighborhood with all the evidence I'd gathered. The response? Explosive. Within 48 hours, my neighbors started coming forward with their own horror stories. One woman was fined for putting up a wheelchair ramp, another for having a small vegetable garden. The HOA had bullied everyone, but no one dared to fight back. Until now. By the end of the week, Karen's empire began to crumble. The local news station got hold of the story, and suddenly, cameras were rolling outside our community gates. When the reporter asked me why I filed the lawsuit, I said, because no one should be fined for simply existing. HOAs are meant to protect communities, not control them. That quote went viral. Thousands of comments poured in. People shared their own HOA nightmares. Karen tried to save face by calling an emergency meeting, but this time, it wasn't her holding the gavel. It was me, flanked by my attorney, with an audience of angry homeowners. I presented every shred of evidence, every illegal fine, every abusive tactic. And when I was done, I said the words I'd been waiting months to say. "You're done, Karen." The board voted her out unanimously. That night, as I stood on my porch, the sunset reflecting off my Mustang, I realized something: power only works when people are too afraid to push back. They tried to find me for living. so I fined them for breaking the law. And in the end, I turned the tables.